Welcome to this edition of The Tax Lawyer. I'm Scott Drake with my guest, writing in Forbes once again, the tax lawyer Rob Wood. And today we're talking about an article entitled Attorney General Pursues Tax Lady Ronnie Deutsch. This is regarding, well, pennies on the dollar tax relief. Welcome back, Rob.
Thanks. Good to be here.
And when we're talking about Ronnie Deutsch, she's a good example of these sort of services we see lots of advertising for, where they offer help when somebody has a large tax liability, and they offer some sort of settlement here. In this case, your warning is that you got to do your homework, because Ronnie Deutsch, for example, got people to pay her up front but really didn't do anything, if I'm getting this right.
I mean, that's certainly the allegation, and there have been, I guess, many allegations against her in particular and her organization. I mean, it was the California Attorney General started quite a while ago, last year, if I recall correctly, an investigation. The State Bar, apparently, in California was investigating her, and I believe, I'm not sure if it's noted in that posting or if I did it subsequently. We'll link these together in the for viewers, but she's now turned in her bar license. Her office is officially closed. I actually recently tried to see if one could, and one can find them, you know, her videos. Anyone who doesn't watch late night TV might not have seen one of her, you know, programs, her sort of infomercials, her little ads. But you know, you can still go online and see them. And you're right. I mean, it's a good lesson to watch out for who you're dealing with. And also, it's the old sort of adage about sometimes when something is too good to be true, it isn't true. And some of the testimonials that she had, and again, not to single her out, I think there are other tax resolution shops that do the same kind of thing, that promise relief to people who are really desperate, and sometimes it's just not true.
You know, with the economic downturn, it's sort of a similar story we've heard actually with mortgages, where people who are having mortgage problems, foreclosures, working on short sales, and there's a whole group of companies that come out and say, hey, we can help you, you got to pay us up front, and we'll take care of it for you, and they don't do anything. Talk about what actually somebody can do with the IRS, because I would imagine the IRS is much less flexible.
Well, and funny you mentioned that. I mean, the IRS is actually more flexible than most or many state agencies. Where I am in California, for example, I think every tax lawyer in California, I don't think this is an overstatement, is aware that the California taxing authorities are harder to deal with than the IRS. The IRS is much more likely to settle a case, to resolve a case. In this particular area, we're talking about you know, sort of compromising, offers in compromise, installment agreements. Those are all easier to get with the IRS than with the California taxing people. So, but I mean, you're right, Scott, that I mean, the IRS is not easy to deal with. Unfortunately, I think most people just don't do their homework, meaning, you know, as you might expect, a lot of this is controlled by how good you are with filling out forms, how complete your paperwork is, your financial statements. If you are trying to compromise an amount, the main way they do that is based on your financial standing. So if you can show that, you know, you don't have a job, that you have you know, few assets, it's one of these things where kind of the you know, the most unattractive you can make yourself legitimately, the better. And people just don't, in my experience, dot their, it's kind of painful, they don't dot their I's and cross their T's. But, I mean, the IRS, these programs, despite infomercials like Ronnie Deutsch's, these programs, IRS offers in compromise, for example, have been in the law for decades. I mean, there's nothing, you know, huge and new about it. It's always been there and probably always will be, but you got to follow the rules.
That's the conclusion we've drawn on several discussions, where as long as you keep in touch with the IRS and do what they tell you to do, you can probably come to some sort of reasonable conclusion.
Yep, Yeah, I mean that's often true, and certainly many people need to get some professional advice. But as you said, do your homework, and be careful, because you are kind of vulnerable if you're in this spot, and you don't want to make matters worse. You want to make them better.
Rob Wood writes as the tax lawyer for Forbes and other publications. He's with Wood and Porter in San Francisco. This has been a service of ATG Trust. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
And you're watching the Legal Broadcast Network.